Not even a sunburn is given from without, Neville says. Not even a sunburn is given from without, because all is contained within you. And nothing can happen to you except it be given from heaven, meaning your subconscious. Welcome back to another episode of Daily Neville. I am your host, Josiah Brandt, and Daily Neville is all about breaking down the teachings of Neville Goddard, making them easy to understand, easy to digest, easy to apply in 20 minutes or less. Usually 20 minutes or less. However, in today's chapter, we are going to go a little bit longer than our normal 20-minute window of time because the ideas in this chapter are so compelling that to do them justice, we have to go a little bit deeper into some of these ideas and really surface the diamond. So if you're in for the jewels to be delivered during this episode, stay tuned all the way through to the very end, and we will make sure that you leave with some incredible insights into the law of thought transmission. Now, this is Neville's 1945 book, Prayer, the Art of Believing. That's what this whole season is about. And this is chapter 5, part 2. And we're going to go ahead and dive right in. Nothing can be added to man, for the whole of creation is already perfected within him. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Man can receive nothing except it be given him from heaven. Now, what is heaven? Neville says heaven is your subconsciousness. Not even a sunburn is given from without, Neville says. Not even a sunburn is given from without, because all is contained within you. And nothing can happen to you except it be given from heaven, meaning your subconscious. Now, when you think about the individuals on this planet who are able to master their bodies to the point where they can sit in the sun and not get burned, they can sit in ice and not freeze, they can do all sorts, walk across coals and not get burned, they can drink poison and not die. If you think about it, not even a sunburn is given from without. All is within, all is contained within the subconscious. When you master the subconscious, you have mastered reality. Neville continues. The rays without, the sunburn, the rays without only awaken corresponding rays within. Were the burning rays not contained within man, all the concentrated rays in the universe could not burn him. Were the tones of health not contained within the consciousness of the one of whom they are affirmed, they could not be vibrated by the word which is sent. What is Neville saying here? He's saying that creation is finished. He's saying that all that you could ever want, dream of, hope for, already is. It sleeps. It sleeps in the deep of your own subconscious. And all you must do is awaken it. You can awaken it within yourself. You can awaken it within circumstances. You can awaken it within others, so-called others, because in truth there is no other, just mirrored reflections of one's own self. You do not really give to another. You resurrect that which is asleep within him. The damsel is not dead, but sleepeth. Death is merely a sleeping and forgetting. Age and decay are the sleep, not the death, of youth and health. Because youth and health are contained within man. They're contained within the storehouse of infinity, which is heaven, which is your own subconscious. And therefore, experiencing age and decay is simply experiencing the sleep of the ideas of youth and health. And yet, Neville writes, recognition of a state vibrates or awakens it. Now, if you have been following along with Daily Neville and you completed season 1 of Daily Neville, you understand that what your attention focuses upon, the power of awareness, what you place your attention on, what you place your awareness on, grows. It expands. You are feeding it your life force energy, because what you focus upon, you make supremely valuable in the kingdom of God. And therefore, your mere awareness of a state, recognition, recognition, bringing it into your awareness, bringing it into your mind, bringing it into your imagination, bringing a state into your awareness, vibrates it, awakens it. Distance, as it is cognized by your objective senses. So basically, when you think of distance, the way that you think of it in relation to your physical senses does not exist for the subconscious mind. Because the subconscious mind is the storehouse of infinity, the storehouse of eternity. The distance is a foreign thought to the subconscious mind. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there shall thy hand lead me. Time and space, Neville writes, are conditions of thought. The imagination can transcend them and move in a psychological time and space. Time and space are conditions of thought. Although physically separated from a place by thousands of miles, you can mentally live in the distant place as though it were here. Your imagination can easily transform winter into summer, New York into Florida, and so on. Whether the object of your desire be near or far, results will be the same, because distance and time are conditions of thought. You can transcend them using your thought. Therefore, it doesn't matter if it's near or far, the results are the same. Distance has no bearing. Timing has no bearing. Subjectively, the object of your desire is never far off. Its intense nearness makes it remote from observation of the senses. It dwells in consciousness, and consciousness is closer than breathing and nearer than your hands and feet. Closer than breathing, nearer than your hands and feet. What could that possibly be describing? Your awareness. Your awareness, the root and source of your very being. Your awareness itself is nearer to you than breathing, closer to you than your hands and feet, closer to you than the now moment. Because to become aware of the now moment, you are operating consciousness. And consciousness, your awareness itself, is the closest thing that you have to you. And when you understand that your consciousness also contains all, and the creation is finished, all that you could ever dream of is nearer to you right now than breathing. Consciousness, Neville writes, is the one and only reality. All phenomena are formed by the same substance vibrating at different rates. Again, quantum physicists are on their way to understanding this, and on some level, they would agree with this statement. All phenomena are formed of the same substance vibrating at different rates. I've heard it said that science and spirituality are two paths up the same mountain. Two paths up the same mountain. So a scientist, might say that, there's these fundamental particles, a physicist, these fundamental particles that make up everything, these little quanta of matter, quanta of light, photons, some level, whatever the smallest possible particle is. And we might say, and everything is made out of that. And we might say, from the spirituality path, we might say, we're all living in the mind of God and there's nothing but God in the world. Two paths up the same mountain. All is consciousness modified by belief. So if consciousness is the stone, it is belief that sculptures the stone, that cuts out of the stone a sculpture, forms, shapes, and molds the stone into something. Out of consciousness, I as man came, and to consciousness, I as man return. In consciousness, all states exist subjectively and are awakened to their objective existence by belief. The only thing that prevents us from making a successful subjective impression on one at a great distance or transforming there into here is our habit of regarding space as an obstacle. We only believe that space is an obstacle because it is a habit of belief. We habitually believe that space or distance is an obstacle. And that's the only thing that is preventing us from being able to do this. The moment that we transcend this outdated belief, all is at our fingertips, nearer than our fingertips, nearer to us than breathing. A friend 1,000 miles away, Neville writes, is rooted in your consciousness through your fixed ideas of him. To think of him and represent him to yourself inwardly in the state you desire him to be, confident that this subjective image is as true as though it were already objectified. So you're thinking of someone and you're putting them in a state, and you are confident that that state is true of them, just as confident as you would be if you actually had material reality proof that this state was true of them. And when you do this, you awaken in them a corresponding state which they must objectify. The results will be as obvious as the cause was hidden. Wow. Results will be as obvious as the cause is hidden. And then you think about these public figures that are in the mind of all humans on some level because they're world famous. You think about what states people of the world are placing them in. And this brings back the incredible wisdom, particularly when interpreted through this lens that Neville's giving us. Pray for your leaders. Pray for your leaders. Think about what that means. Place your leaders in the state you desire them to objectify. And in your mind's awareness, in your mind's eye, see them objectifying that state and observe proof that they are objectifying that noble state, empower noble power, and that noble state will be awakened within them. These are powerful secrets, and we are revealing them to everyone right now. The subject will express the awakened state within him and remain unaware of the true cause of his action. Your illusion of free will is but ignorance of the causes which make you act. It is one of the most potent Neville sentences there is. Your illusion of free will is but ignorance of the causes which make you act. Prayers depend upon your attitude of mind for their success, and not upon the attitude of the subject. The subject has no power to resist your controlled subjective ideas of him, unless the state affirmed by you to be true of him is a state he is incapable of wishing as true of another. And essentially what this means is the subject can resist your controlled subjective ideas of them if your controlled ideas of them are not rooted in love, if they are unlovely things. If you're choosing to believe unlovely things about another, they can resist that. But if you are choosing to believe lovely things about another, lovely things about yourself, mirrored into your belief in lovely things about another, they are powerless to resist. They're powerless to resist. And this is the power of prayer. This is the power of prayer. When effectively implemented, the subject is powerless to resist when the prayer is offered in love. In the event that you are wishing something upon another, you're sending a controlled subjective idea of another that they are incapable of believing as true of another. In that case, it returns to you, the sender, and it will realize itself in you, another compelling reason to only imagine lovely things of another. Provided the idea is acceptable by the other, the idea that you're sending, the mind's image that you're sending to another, provided that it is acceptable, success depends entirely on the operator and not upon the subjects. who, like compass needles on their pivots, are quite indifferent as to what direction you choose to give them. If your fixed idea is not subjectively accepted by the one toward whom it is directed, it rebounds to you from whom it came. Who is he that will harm you, if ye be followers of that which is good? I have been young, and now I am old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. Imagine wisely, my friends. That's what that means when I say that at the conclusion of each of these videos. Imagine wisely, my friends. Imagine in love what you are sending forth, the thought forms that you're sending forth, vibrating their correlates in the world around you. Imagine with wisdom and love. There shall no evil happen to the just. Nothing befalls us that is not of the nature of ourselves. A person who directs a malicious thought to another will be injured by its rebound if he fails to get subconscious acceptance of the other. As ye sow, so shall ye reap. Furthermore, what you can wish and believe of another can be wished and believed of you, and you have no power to reject it if the one who desires it for you accepts it as true of you. Powerful, revealing statement here. We're going to say it again. I'm going to say it a little slower. Listen carefully. What you can wish and believe of another can be wished and believed of you, and you have no power to reject it if the one who desires it for you accepts it as true of you. The only power to reject a subjective word is to be incapable of wishing a similar state of another. To give presupposes the ability to receive. The possibility to impress an idea upon another mind presupposes the ability of that mind to receive that impression. Fools exploit the world. The wise transfigure it. Fools exploit the world. The wise transfigure it. It is the highest wisdom to know that in the living universe, there is no destiny other than that created out of the imagination of man. The highest wisdom, there is no destiny other than what comes out of the imagination of man. There is no influence outside of the mind of man. Whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. That is the command of the Bible, this user guide for material reality using spiritual principles. If it is lovely, if it is of good rapport, if there be any virtue, dwell and think upon these things. Never accept as true of others what you would not want to be true of you. To awaken a state within another, it must first be awake within you. The state you would transmit to another can only be transmitted if it is believed by you. Therefore, to give is also to receive. We're living in a mirror world. What you give to another, the state that you place them in, presupposes your ability to receive that thing. You are what you believe of others. If you see something unlovely in another, you're seeing it in yourself first and projecting it upon another. Change the image. Give, and ye shall receive. Full measure, pressed down and running over. Giving is simply believing. For what you truly believe of others, you awaken within them. The vibratory state transmitted by your belief persists until it awakens its corresponding vibration in him of whom it is believed. But before it can be transmitted, it must first be awake within the consciousness of the transmitter. Whatever is awake within your consciousness, you are. You are what is awake within your consciousness. Whether the belief pertains to self or another, it does not matter. For the believer is defined by the sum total of his beliefs or subconscious assumptions. You are defined, my friend, by the sum total of your beliefs and subconscious assumptions. Those two things put together, your beliefs and your subconscious assumptions, form your state of being. Your state of being is your identity in the now moment. It's who you're choosing to be. It's how God is expressing as man via a state. And that state is subconscious assumptions and beliefs, the total of them. As a man thinketh in his heart, in the deep subconscious of himself, so is he. Disregard appearances and subjectively affirm as true that which you wish to be true. Disregard appearances. Appearances are old. They're echoes of states long gone. Disregard them and instead affirm now as true what you wish to be true. When you do this, it awakens in you the tone of the state affirmed, which in turn realizes itself in you and in the one of whom it is affirmed. Give, and ye shall receive. Beliefs invariably awaken what they affirm. The world is a mirror in which everyone sees himself reflected. The objective world reflects the beliefs of the subconscious mind, the subjective mind. Some people are self-impressed best by visual images, others by mental sounds, such as hearing another, and still others by mental actions, doing something. The form of mental activity which allows the whole power of your attention to be focused in one chosen direction is the one to cultivate, until you can bring all to play on your objective at the same time. So, whether it's seeing, hearing, doing in your mind's eye that you connect with easiest, bring all of your attention to whichever it is that's easiest, most natural for you, until you develop and cultivate the skill to where you're able to bring all of them together at once and give a scene full tones of reality. We explore this in tremendous detail in season 1 of Daily Neville. Should you have difficulty in understanding the terms visual images, mental sounds, and mental actions, here is an illustration that should make their meanings clear. A imagines he sees a piece of music, knowing nothing at all about musical notations. The impression in his mind is a purely visual image. B imagines he sees the same piece, but he can read music and can imagine how it would sound when played on the piano. That imagination is mental sound or mental hearing. C also reads music and is a pianist. As he reads, he imagines himself playing the piece. And this imaginary action is mental action. Seeing, hearing, and doing. The visual images, mental sounds, and mental actions are creations of your imagination. And though they appear to come from without, they actually come from within yourself. They move as if moved by another, but are really launched by your own spirit from the magical storehouse of imagination. They are projected into space by the same vibratory law that governs the sending of a voice or picture. Speech and images are projected, not as speech or images, but as vibrations, vibratory correlates. Subjective mind vibrates according to these modifications that it undergoes by the thought and feelings of the operator. The visible state created is the effect of the subjective vibrations. So you see the state that is created by the vibrations which you are creating in your imagination. A feeling is always accompanied by a corresponding vibration, and that is a change in expression or sensation in the operator. There is no thought or feeling without expression. No matter how motionless you appear to be, if you reflect with any degree of intensity, there is always an execution of slight muscular movements. Every thought and every feeling, Neville is saying, is expressed by you somehow. If you have a thought, if you have a feeling, there is a vibration associated with those two things, and your body somehow will express it. For example, he says, the eye, though shut, follows the movements of the imaginary objects, and the pupil is dilated or contracted according to the brightness or the remoteness of those objects. Respiration, your breathing, is accelerated or slowed according to the course of your thoughts. The muscles contract correspondingly to your mental movements. This change of vibration persists until it awakens a corresponding vibration in the subject, which vibration then expresses itself into a physical fact. And the Word was made flesh. Energy, as you can see in the case of a radio, is transmitted and received in a field, a place where the changes in space occur. The field and energy are one and inseparable. The field, or subject, becomes the embodiment of the word or energy received. The thinker and the thought, the operator and the subject, the energy and the field are one. Were you still enough to hear the sound of your beliefs, you would know what is meant by the music of the spheres. Were you still enough to hear the sound of your beliefs, you would know what is meant by the music of the spheres. The mental sound you hear in prayer as coming from without are really produced by yourself. Self-observation will reveal this fact. As the music of the spheres is defined as the harmony heard by the gods alone, and is supposed to be produced by the movements of the celestial spheres, so too is the harmony you subjectively hear for others heard by you alone, and is produced by the movement of your thoughts and feelings in the true kingdom, or the heaven within you. Incredibly powerful teachings here from Neville Goddard on prayer, the art of believing what is denied by the senses, and in particular, the law of thought transmission. In our next episode, we're moving on to chapter 6, titled Good Tidings. I hope you're enjoying this season of Daily Neville. If you are, I invite you to leave me a comment below telling me what you gained from this chapter in particular. What is that fresh insight that just popped into your mind? And if you are interested in the things that I don't talk about on YouTube, you need to join my email list. There's a link to that in the description below. And until next time, imagine wisely, my friends.